these things all came to a head in the environment I was in. To give you an example, is that one of the brothers there, his family, the Wali family, were from Kuwait, and their father was one of the major people in the Salaf movement of Kuwait, one of the head leaders. And so his sons were studying engineering at Purdue. And I would get other books to read. You know, I didn't just have, you know, Kitab al-Tawheed and Abdul Wahab, for example, or other books, or books by Albani and Thayman, and books like that, which were part of my library. I also read Ghazali or Ibn Randa in Arabic. But I had to hide those books around them in the masjid. Because when they saw I had these books, if I had Ihya al-Madin by Ghazali, there's already another book is full of error, you know, there's misguidance in it, you know, you should read something like that. But it was a book that to me was very authentic because it spiritually spoke to me. It made sense to me, or I don't know if you ever read The 100 Letters by Shaykh Naeem Abdul Wali, the great Bengali mystic, which I would recommend you to read if you want to read a book on sober Sufism. It's the book to read just to get an idea. It's a bit ecstatic, but that's okay. But the point is, I like that, but I always had to sort of keep that stuff hidden. I couldn't really openly, I didn't feel comfortable in the message to read this stuff. Unless someone would say something to me. So I was in this tension between trying to be outwardly authentic, you know, really Quran and Sunnah kind of guy, and inwardly Quran and Sunnah, but with a deep sense of, what for me was a yearning for God. And these things sort of crashed in August of 1987. And then a big turning point for me was August 7th, 3 p.m., 1987, because that's when I left Islam. I left Islam at that time. I was at a friend's house to pray Salat al-Dhuhr. I was praying Dhuhr there, but I couldn't pray. I froze. I just raised my hands, and I just stood there facing the Qibla, and I stood there. And it was like, it crashed, all these things crashed into me, and I said, I can't do this anymore, and I just stopped. And I didn't pray. And I was very consistent. I never did miss my prayers. I just stopped. I couldn't do it anymore. And I didn't go back to the masjid anymore. And at that time I had, of course, my dialogue with Christians. I had Christian friends. So one of them, my co-operator was Debbie Balcom, and I said, you know, I really can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. So what happened was, because I was such a well-known person on campus at Purdue, I was very well known among Muslims. I was giving Jummah khutbahs and all this stuff, you know, the MSA, Dawah kind of guy, all these things I was doing. And now I just couldn't do this stuff anymore. I wouldn't do this anymore. So this Christian group took me in and actually sort of hid me. I was working in my lab in the Department of Entomology, so I went to work, and I didn't go to the masjid. I was over with that, done with that, didn't want to say Muslims anymore. But I did call up one brother. After some time passed, I called up Abdul Najashi, who was a Saudi brother. He did his PhD in engineering. He was much older than I. He was probably 20 years older than I. And I called him up. He was a very helpful man. Whenever I had questions, he answered my questions for me. I called him and I said, I need to talk to you. So we met in the Union Building and down the student, there was a cafeteria, there was a restaurant, and there was a cafe. And we met in a cafe in a booth, and I said, you know, Abdullah, I'm not Muslim anymore. And he said, I thought something like that had happened. And he just said to me, he said two things to me. I remember clearly what he said. The first thing he said was, I love you for the sake of Allah. And I said, didn't the Prophet Muhammad say to us that if you love your brother, you should tell him and you love him? And he said, yes. He said, but you know, I'm a very reserved man, and because of my being so reserved, I have a hard time expressing my feelings. And I said, sometimes it's important you express your feelings, and maybe I wouldn't be where I am right now had you shown me your feelings as a friend. And the second thing he said was, of all the people I've ever met in my life, this is his personal view, so I'm just saying what he said, I never met anyone as sincere to God as you are. And I said, I don't know if I'm sincere, but I can't be this way I am right now. So I actually became a born-again Christian for a little while, but I said, I can't believe in this stuff either. So I fell into it. Because these are really nice people. These Christians were so nice, you know, they were really nice. But then I just said, I can't hold this theology, so I left West Lafayette and went down to Indianapolis for a year, and I worked there. And I just spent my time with the English translation of the Quran, working and living by myself. And I found music, so I would go to clubs and I would dance, but I wouldn't drink or anything. I would just dance with myself. I had all these pent up feelings about God, and I couldn't be a Muslim like that way. I saw it Purdue. I didn't want to be that way. I couldn't be that way. I couldn't be the outward shell of a person I felt. But I couldn't find any place to meet my needs. So I was really struggling. So I would dance, and I would just go. I would work, and I would just go, and I would just get it out of me, and I would just close my eyes and dance. And I'd go home and go to sleep and go to work, and on weekends I would go maybe take my Quran and try to read Quran. A couple of times I tried to pray, but I couldn't pray, and I struggled with this until finally I don't remember which surah it was. I was reading this translation of the Quran. The names of Allah, Al-Mu'min came out, the protector, the giver of faith, the one who gives security. And it just hit me that, I need to get myself back to where I was. So then I decided I would quit my job, and I went back to Purdue. I called up the lab I was at before, because I did a pretty good job, my job there. And I said, could I get my job back? And he said, sure, we'd like to come back. And I went back to Purdue, and I re-embraced Islam. But I came with this idea that I wasn't going to be the same person I was. Probably about 2 weeks after I got back, it was in August, maybe early September, back to Purdue, I had an experience, like I was walking to the masjid, and I remember I was walking and I started weeping and I started crying. And just 2 blocks to get to the mosque, I kept crying, and I got to the mosque, and I could barely enter the mosque, I was weeping so much. And I never had this experience. It was a very emotional state I was in, and it was before, it was around the time of Salat al-Duha, from 11 o'clock in the morning, I could pray Duha. It wasn't a makruh time to pray, so I tried to pray 2 rakat, and I just prayed and wept, and I collapsed in the prayer. And I went into this, it's hard to describe it. It was like a very dark place, and it was so dark, it was frightening. And I was literally crumpled up in a ball on the masjid floor, weeping. And I was by myself, and I was screaming from outside, deep within myself, as it was screaming out, and this loneliness, and as it was cut off from God, and I was like, what's happening to me? It was almost as if I was an observer of myself. And it passed, and then Dhuhr time came, and during Dhuhr prayer, it happened again. I collapsed in Dhuhr prayer, and the brothers around me didn't know what was going on. And one brother asked me, he lives here in Cincinnati, he asked me, Brother Naeem, what's wrong? And I said, this is what my sin has done to me. And the best to describe it, if I could describe it now, is that I went into a void, a place where God cut me off. And I felt absolute loneliness, being cut off from God. To me, it is very, it's very subjective, but it was like a glimpse of what must be cut off from God in a place of hell, where you're just absolutely cut off. And that scared me so much. It didn't scare the bejeez out of me that I would get back and be a better Muslim. It made me realize that there was something deeper going on. I was so disturbed. I had to go to the hospital because I broke out, and like 95% of my body broke out in hives, and I had to get treatment at the hospital. That's how physically I was in the state I was in. And it was in that period of time I made the decision I would leave the United States.